Namaste, a warm welcome to episode 11 of our 21-day series From Achievement to Alignment. Every year around examination season, a familiar scene unfolds in thousands of homes. The preparation is complete, the papers have been written, the books are finally closed, and yet sleep becomes difficult. Not because there is more work to do. There isn't. The effort is over. The mind, however, has moved somewhere else. What will the results be? Will I get the marks I hoped for? What will people think? What happens if things don't go according to the plan? Notice what's happening. The stress is no longer coming from the work, which is the exam. The work is finished. The stress is coming from attachment to an outcome that is no longer in our hands. Interestingly, this pattern doesn't end with school. The exam hall changes, but the anxiety remains. Later, it becomes a job interview, a promotion, a business proposal, a difficult conversation, your child's future. The forms change, the mind doesn't. And thousands of years ago, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjun found himself facing the very same challenge. Not an examination or a promotion, but a question every human being eventually encounters. How do I give my best when I cannot control what happens next? The answer Krishna gives forms the heart of Karma Yoga. When we think of the Bhagavad Gita, we often picture a battlefield. But the most important battle in the Gita is not happening outside the Arjuna. It is happening within him. Arjuna is overwhelmed not because he lacks skill or because he lacks courage, not because he does not know what action is required. In fact, he is trained for this since his childhood, being a Kshatriya prince. But his suffering comes from becoming consumed by the consequences of his action. His mind is racing ahead. What will happen? Who will suffer? What if I make a wrong decision? What if everything falls apart? The future has occupied so much space in his mind that he can no longer act clearly in the present. How often does that happen to us? A project becomes stressful because of what it might mean. A conversation becomes difficult because of how it may be received. A decision becomes heavy because of what might happen afterwards. The action itself is often manageable. It is our relationship with the outcome that creates the burden. And this is where Krishna begins his teaching. Krishna says, Karmanyevaadhikaraste ma Phaleshu Kadachana. You have a choice over your actions, but never over the fruits of your action. Perhaps no verse from the Bhagavad Gita is quoted more often than this one, and perhaps few are misunderstood more frequently. This verse is not saying that results don't matter. Results matter, goals matter, visions matter, excellence matters. Krishna is not teaching indifference. He is teaching wisdom. He is reminding Arjuna that there is a difference between influence and control. You can influence an outcome, but you cannot control it completely. You can prepare thoroughly. You can act intelligently. You can give your best. But outcomes are shaped by countless factors beyond your individual effort. It could be timing, circumstances, other people, opportunities, the larger flow of life itself. Karma Yoga begins with accepting this reality, not as a resignation towards life, but as freedom. One of the biggest misconceptions about non attachment is that it sounds passive, as if caring less is somehow spiritual. That is not what Krishna teaches. There is a profound difference between commitment and attachment. Commitment says, I will give this my very best. On the other hand, attachment says, my happiness depends on the outcome of this. Commitment will bring energy, and attachment will bring anxiety. Commitment sharpens the focus, whereas attachment scatters it, takes you to the future. Think about the moments when you have performed at your best. Perhaps a presentation, a creative project, a conversation, a performance. You are completely absorbed in what you are doing, not obsessing about the outcome, not rehearsing the future scenarios. Simply present, fully engaged. Psychologists call this flow, and the Bhagavad Gita calls it Karma Yoga. Different language, same experience. Total involvement, minimal inner struggle. The Gita goes even deeper. In chapter 3, verse 27, Krishna says, Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahamkara vimhudatma kartaham iti manyate. All actions are performed through the forces of nature, yet the ego believes I am the doer. This is one of the most profound teachings in Vedanta. Think about any success in your life. Your effort mattered, absolutely. But was it your effort alone? What about your teachers, your mentors, your family, your health, the opportunities you got, the countless people whose contributions made your journey possible? Success is always co created. Yet the ego claims complete ownership and says, I did it. And when things don't go well, it says, I failed. Karma Yoga softens this burden. It reminds us that we are participants in life, not absolute controllers of life. We are contributors and not owners. This understanding doesn't reduce any responsibility. It reduces arrogance. It reduces unnecessary suffering. And if I had to summarize Karma Yoga in two words, then it would be effort and surrender. Most people are comfortable with one. Very few are comfortable with both. Some surrender before they even act, while others act but never surrender. They cling on to it. Karma Yoga asks for wholehearted effort followed by a graceful release. Bring your discipline, bring your preparation, bring your intelligence, your sincerity, and then surrender what lies beyond your control. Not because the outcomes are irrelevant, but because peace is too valuable to place entirely in the hands of the outcome. This is not passivity, it is inner maturity. As you move through this week, try a simple shift. Whenever something important is happening in your life, create two mental lists. The first, what belongs to me or what is in my control. It is my effort, preparation, my attitude, my integrity, my contribution, things like that. And the second list is what does not belong to me or what is out of my control. It is the outcome, other people's opinions, circumstances. timing, right? The larger unfolding of life. Invest deeply in the first, that is what belongs to you, and release your grip on the second, that is what does not belong to you. That is Karma Yoga in practice. The Bhagavad Gita does not teach us how to guarantee success. It teaches us how to remain free while pursuing what matters, to care deeply, to contribute wholeheartedly, to strive with excellence, without allowing our peace to rise and fall with every external outcome. Perhaps that is the real success. Perhaps that is the real secret of sustainable success. Not caring less, but clinging less. So, as you move through your day, carry this reminder: I act with excellence, I grip nothing. Because peace is not waiting at the finish line, peace is available in the way we walk the path. Tomorrow, we will explore another essential aspect of our purpose: your inner authority. How to trust yourself when the world discounts you. Because there comes a moment in every meaningful journey when external validation becomes less important than inner conviction. Until then, act fully and release gracefully, and simply trust the process of life. Namaste.